everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Penny Wen. I am the faculty member of IFTM. So today in this session, we have three presenters. Before they present, I would like to introduce our expert panel members. Mary Mendoza, Managing Director of the Plantium. Thank you. And next to her is Mr. Stanley Yu, Senior Manager of Affiliate and Partnership, Digital Marketing and E-Commerce, Sense China Limited. And then next to him is Mr. Patrick Schaub, Vice President of Hotel Operation, MGM Macau. And last but not the least, Mr. Andrew Lai, Executive Director, Revenue Optimization and Distribution, Sense China. Okay, so this session, we have three presenters. Each student will have about 15 minutes to do your presentation. And after each, we have a Q&A session, about 5 minutes. We will conclude this session by presenting the student certificate, as well as a token of appreciation to our panel member. Okay, so may I ask the first student to come to prepare for your presentation? Oh, all right. So I would like to, online presentation. Yes, our first speaker is now online because she cannot come today. So can you show her? All right.
Okay.
Okay, Miss Lin, are you ready?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lin SHILING. It is an honor to share my paper here. I studied the relationship between interpretation, system evaluation, tourist fatigue, tourist experience, and behavior intention of museum tourism. In the process of visiting the museum, many visitors will have these symptoms. The hair is as drowsy as cotton wool. The legs are as heavy as a plum hammer, and the ankles are sore. In the eyes of the audience, the few words of interpretation are boring and without any impressive memory points. Seeing too much of it will only make people tired and tedious. And the vitality of a museum depends on your narrative. Based on this phenomenon, this study proposed the following questions. Does the interpretation system affect fatigue symptoms? And then, does the appearance of fatigue symptoms affect tourist experience or behavior intention? Current researches on museum tourism mainly focus on visit expectations, motivation, authenticity, interpretation systems, visitor experience, satisfaction, and so on. But fewer studies have explored tourist stay from the perspective of tourist fatigue. Even if they do, they mostly explore the influencing factors of fatigue from a qualitative perspective. In order to explore the antecedents and consequences of tourist fatigue to help museum tourism develop better, this paper takes on the museum as a case site and then modifies the tourist fatigue scale after a questionnaire pre-survey. Then interpretation system evaluation, tourist experience, and behavior intention are introduced, and their relationship is explored by constructing a structural equation model. Tourist fatigue is a negative state in which the level of tourist positive emotion falls from the peak to the bottom. The decline of initiative and even the psychological and behavioral intention to escape from the tourist world in the process of tourism. In the field of museums, museum fatigue has emerged early on, which refers the phenomenon of energy exhaustion, distraction, and decline of cognitive functions that gradually occurs when visiting a museum. And then interpretation system refers to the use certain media to convey specific information to the information recipients, help them understand the nature and characteristics of related things, and achieve the basic functions of service and education. It is not only an educational or information delivery means, but also serves to entice the audience. In musings, tourists have a strong reliance on the interpretation system. As for tourist experience, it is an internal psychological state of feeling resulting from the tourist participation in the tourism activity. It is a feeling of physical and mental integration of tourists in the tourism world when deeply integrated with the present situation. And behavior intention is an attitude toward the tourism destination expressed by the tourist after the visit, specifically the tendency to revisit and recommend. A good interpretation system has an emotional function and can awaken tourist emotions. For example, interactive games or VR technology can relieve tourist fatigue and allow them to get the immersive experience, and their intentions to revisit and recommend will be also enhanced. In addition, the better the tourist experience, the more positive the behavioral response. Based on the above studies, the following 6 hypotheses were posed in this study. There is a direct correlation between the 4 variables. This is the model. In addition, tourist experience and behavior intention are psychological states that can be influenced by both external and internal factors. This study believes that interpretation system evaluation and tourist fatigue are external and internal factors that affect tourist experience and behavior intention. Interesting interpretation can stimulate tourist interest and desire to explore, relieve their fatigue, and then increase their revisit and recommendation rates. Based on this study proposed hypothesis 7 to hypothesis 11, that is, tourist fatigue and tourist experience has the mediating effect between them and form the mediating chain. After proposing the hypothesis, this study took Guan Museum as a case site. The method 2 is the 5-point Likert scales, in which interpretation system evaluation, tourist experience, and behavior intention are directly referred to existing metric scales. And the tourist fatigue scale is formed on the basis of literature review and interviews, which contain 4 dimensions and 19 items. Finally, returned 314 valid questionnaires. And then conducted the reliability test, found that the internal consistency and stability of each scales are good, and the reliability is higher. After 2 rounds of exploratory factor analysis, 1 item in the tourist fatigue scale was removed, and the scales of interpretation system evaluation, tourist experience, and behavior intention were not modified. And then conducted the confirmatory factor analysis, found that the structural validity and conversion validity of the second-order factor model for the tourist fatigue scale were good. Subsequently, conducted structural equation model. After modifying, there is a significant improvement in the goodness of fit index, and hypothesis 1 to hypothesis 6 all are supported. This is the modified model. Finally, the meditation test was performed, and according to Table 2, all the confidence intervals corresponding to the meditation path don't contain 0. So hypothesis 7 to hypothesis 11 are valid. This is the summary of the hypothesis testing results. All hypotheses are supported. This study found that the higher the evaluation of tourists on the interpretation system, the lower their fatigue, and then the higher their experience and behavior intention will be. Scholar believes that when people's interests are stimulated, their fatigue will be reduced, and then they are more likely to have a pleasurable experience. which in turn increases the rate of revisiting, recommending, and sharing. Secondly, there is a significant positive correlation among interpretation system evaluation, tourist experience, and behavior intention. When the interpretation is valid and the content is attractive, tourists are likely to have an engaging and enjoyable experience, which can also increase their intention to revisit and brings positive publicity to the museum. Finally, both tourist fatigue and tourist experience play a partially mediating role between these variables and form a mediating chain. Interpretation system evaluation positively influences tourist experience and behavior intention through tourist fatigue, and tourist fatigue negatively influences behavior intention through tourist experience. This study describes the negative state of tourists in terms of physical, emotional, cognitive functions, and sense of accomplishment, and explores its antecedents and consequences, enriching the knowledge in the field of negative experience. In addition, this study also modified the tourist fatigue scales through field researches, measuring tourist fatigue scales from the aspect of sense of accomplishment in addition to physical, emotional, cognitive function, enriching the fruits of tourist fatigue in quantitative research. What's more, this study suggests two insights for museum tourism management. Firstly, reduce tourist fatigue through a reasonable layout of rest areas and exhibition halls, allow tourists to rest at any time on their way to the exhibition. Time for audience to concentrate on interest ranges from 20 to 45 minutes. Therefore, if conditions allow, appreciate less places to be set up in the visiting line. Secondly, improve the interpretation system by enriching the fonts and contents. On one hand, in addition to general fonts such as promotional brochures, interactive gates can also be designed to allow tourists to harvest exhibit information during the gate. At the same time, VR technology can also be used for interpretation, making tourists feel as if they are on the scene and enhancing their immersive experience. On the other hand, no matter what form of interpretation is used, it is necessary to make the interpretation process and content easy to understand. Otherwise, tourists are likely to experience fatigue symptoms because the information is too complicated or difficult to understand. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Now I want to ask the expert panel member to ask questions or give comments, or if you have any question, you can ask her to clarify.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. I will give more comment about your presentation skill actually. I think because you are not in front of us, actually you are online, then maybe you can also do some eye contact to all of us. I understand that it will be very difficult because at the moment you cannot really see us, but maybe you can look at the camera and then trying to talk to us. And the other thing is, I think, give me a feeling like you are reading the wordings. And most of the script that you talk about has already been shown on the screen. So maybe you can talk more outside the screen, and then would be better for your presentation skill. Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Very constructive. Yes, Mr. Lai.
Yep. Thank you for your presentation. Actually, I'm a museum lover. Every city when I visit, I will be into the museum. As for your presentation, you use Guangdong Museum, which I've been to there already. Actually, just one of the question. When you would like to improve minimize the fatigue and improve the overall experience for the customer, you recommend that to have a better rest area and also the another point will be the improving the rate of the interpretation and how to give more content and also the precisely to the visitor. Do you have any actual example that for the maybe another museum that already applying, then can give the, say, for the museum in Macau, then take a reference or example to improve themselves?
Yes, Ms. Lin.
Okay. Can I speak in Chinese because my English isn't very good?
No, you have to use English because we have some people.
Oh, okay.
Okay, try.
In the Guangdong Museum, I found that in each exhibition hall, it set up the rest areas, right? Not only outside the halls, but inside the halls, it has the rest areas. Sorry, because my English is not very good.
Okay, so you find that the rest area are very important inside the museum.
Yes.
To make them less fatigued and feel better, right?
Yes.
All right.
So thank you for your presentation. I got a question too on that to follow up on the rest area. So was that coming out of your survey, out of all those questions? I think it was 315. Out of that survey, that came out that they'd like to have more rest areas. And I would have loved to see a bit more of the questions on the survey, because sometimes when you're with kids or sometimes you can attract them to coming to a museum by actually saying, let's go for lunch. And then maybe there's some food and beverage or other entertainment components that will attract them to the museum. So it would have been very interesting to see what was in the questionnaire being asked to then get also the result of, let's say they want resting areas, because I was surprised they wouldn't want other things than just rest areas.
Exactly. Okay, so maybe Ms. Lin, next time when you do presentation, you can also show your questionnaire and survey so that we have better idea what kind of question you ask. Okay.
Lynn, congratulations for well-presented data on your specific museum of choice. I've seen that you have incorporated various way of to eliminate the fatigue of the tourists. So that includes the interpretation system, the media, the resting area. So I think you did a good job in your personal observation, in addition to your interview with 14 tourists and as well as your questionnaires and other areas. So just something to share with you in terms of reality in our XINYI integrated resort. So as you know, in Macau, we have a high volume of tourist visitation. So let's say we've seen the data earlier that it's almost 40 million tourists in 2019. So, just quite a lot of the private sectors, which means the companies. We also have a study in terms of what we call customer journey. So it's something that I would like to see in your next presentation, or something you can consider is customer journey and as well as customer experience. Because what you have shown is an overall data. It's good in terms of quantitative, but in terms of the journey on how long did it take them from one place to another, perhaps a mapping of that particular museum would give a better overview for some of the audience who have not been to certain museum. That's one thing. And second thing is that the customer journey would allow you to walk through each of the areas on how fatigued it is to be in that particular museum. The rest of it, I think you did really well. And knowing that it's a distance. So yeah, congratulations again.
Okay, so thank you so much for your comments. Ms. Lin, maybe you can carry on your research in the future to look into how people experience inside the museum and what types of fatigues they have and where make them feel depressed or fatigued, okay? So I have to finish your presentation here. So stay tuned. You can also hear the rest of our presentation. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to our second presenter, Sunny. All right. Sunny is going to present a topic about the process of place attachment among migrant workers at the tourism attractions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to stand here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to stand here to present my study supervised by Dr. Sandeep. My study topic is the process of place attachment among migrant workers at the tourism attractions. Sorry. Okay. To start with, I would like to give an example. What is place attachment? I believe that most of you have been to a bar. Maybe you go there for drinks, but think about it. Do you really go there just for the drinks? Maybe you go there to hang out with your friends, your family, or maybe you just go there want to relax by yourself. A place is not just a place, it has a meaning. And when you are building up a bond between the place, you are having the place attachment. It means that you are attached to that place. Why I would like to conduct this study is that it is beneficial for the Macau society and also the tourism industry. As we all know, Macau is positioned as a world center of tourism and leisure. It means that tourism industry is a significant industry for Macau development. And also, it contains so many migrant workers in Macau. If we are working in Macau, we know that we don't only have local residents, they are working, but we also have some migrant workers here. Therefore, it is believed that it is beneficial for the society and also for the tourism. And that brings to the aim of the study. I would like to find out the process of place attachment among migrant workers, focusing on Macau. During the literature review, I have found out that some scholars, they have conceptualized place attachment. They have described it as a positive connection or bond between a person or a place. Some of them even created a framework to describe about it. And they also have found out that the roles in society and tourism. They have mentioned that the place attachment, it plays a significant role in offering protection. Why? Because it protects the people, they provide a sense of security for them when they are in a familiar environment. And also scholars have found out that they play important roles in tourism industry. It is beneficial for the sustainable development of tourism. And also it is beneficial for the destination to be more competitive. And the last one I have found out that was the primary determinants for place attachment that the scholars have discussed about. They have discussed about the activities and also the emotions. They have found out that the activities both directly and indirectly develop social bonding. As for the emotions, they found out that why visitors are attracted to some casino hotels in Macau, because they have the positive emotion, they feel good. And that's what I have found out from the previous literature. However, they are lack of empirical groundings. Based on the concepts and also the theories, they have really delivered some good theories for us to be based on. However, they are all lack of empirical groundings. And also, they do not have any theories in relation to migrant workers, which form a very distinct and particular tourist market. as we all know, migrant workers, they are not residents, they are not local residents. So actually, they are one of type very special tourists for us. And it is also very important for our tourism development. Therefore, I would like to examine the determinants and influences on place attachment, emphasizing on migrant workers instead of focusing general people. And also, I conducted in Macau, China, focusing on it. Now, I would like to introduce my methodology. The reason why I would like to conduct the qualitative research was that the study was related to the perception and also their behavior. It was hard to know their behavior perception through conducting a survey, through conducting a quantitative research. That's why I took the qualitative research method. As for the data collection, I had observation and also the semi-structured interview. I picked up 2 tourism attractions. As you can see, one is the ruins of St. Paul and the other one is Nam Wan Lake. The reason why I would like to pick these 2 tourism attractions was that I have passed there based on my personal experiences. I have seen some migrant workers, they gathered there, they conducted some activities there. Based on that, I conducted a naturalistic observation from August 2020 last year. And that was the very first beginning of my study. And from August to November 2020, I have been conducting the observation altogether 9 days and 34 hours. I have been doing the observation and then took the field notes. Why I would like to take the field notes was that it tried to make me remember what I have observed during the observation. And that also helped me to conduct the interview. I developed the question in the semi-structured interview through the observation, what I could observe their behavior. I also tried to know why their behavior was like that during my interview. And that's why I conducted the interview from the November 2020 to the January this year, altogether 3 months and 18 interviews. As you can see, I have been interviewed 18 interviewees. And actually, it was divided into 3 batches, and I didn't interview them all together. And now I would like to introduce why I conducted in 3 batches instead of doing the interview all together. I conducted the constructivist grounded theory. What was that? It seems like very complicated, but please allow me to explain it. Actually, I interviewed them the 6 interviews at the very beginning after my observation. And the first batch was based on the convenience sampling, that I interviewed the people that I have been observed at the tourism attractions. When I observed their behavior at the tourism attraction, I tried to approach one participant and asked her if she would like to have an interview with me. And then I tried to conduct the interview in the first batch, and then 6 interviewees was interviewed. After that, I do the initial coding. The initial coding means that I transcribe what they have said during the interview, and then I try to summarize it. After the initial coding, I try to do the focus coding based on the initial coding. From the focus coding, I also try to adjust the interview question. Then I can have maybe ask what they have behaviored, what their emotions in the next batch of interviewees, instead of just following the same question for the 18 interviewees. And that's what is constructed grounded theory. Try to constantly compare it, do the comparison, and then adjust the question as time goes by. As you can see, the diagram shows that the participant code was used to generate the conceptual code, and also the conceptual code was used to generate the conceptual category. And that brings out to the findings, the grounded theory of the process of place attachment among migrant workers at the tourism attractions in Macau. And that was a process that I have been studied for these 8 months, that there are purposes of visit, what attracts people, and also find out what are the intervening conditions to lead to the activities that they engage in finally generated their place attachment. The first section was the purposes of visits. I describe it as push factors. What are the push factors? It's something that push you to go there, directly drive you to go there was your original purpose of visit. That was leisure, business. Maybe you run their business near the area, near the tourism attraction, or you just want to spend your free time there with your family, with your friends, or with your colleagues. And maybe you are based on a religion, so you go there to visit. And as we mentioned before, migrant workers, they are also a tourist in Macau. When they are new here, they would like to go there as a tourist, have the tourism purposes, and that was the push factors for their purposes of visits. And the other section was that, as you can see on the process, was at the right side was the pull factors, that what drags you there. You are not going there because of your original purposes, because of some reasons, based on your own experience or what the places have. So you go there, maybe because of your memories. You have important memories with your family. When you were new here, you went to the tourism attraction. So after that time, you went there, you remember your family. Or maybe because of the convenience. As we all know, actually, every tourism attraction has the public transportation to go. Maybe because they think it's very convenient to go, even though they do not have the original purpose, they just go there to visit. And the other one is because of the peacefulness that the tourism attraction could provide. And maybe also because of the sense of security, because they can see the people with same nationality there. They feel it feels like their own country. So they can feel the attachment, they go there. And that is what the pull factors are. It drags them to there. And what are the intervening conditions, the significance of the place? The symbolization means that the tourism attraction symbolizes something. It doesn't mean that it has to be a very specific one, but actually it symbolizes Macau. And also it has its historic value itself, and also the uniqueness it could provide. It doesn't mean that it's like other resource, but it also has its meaning, its uniqueness, and also the functionality, because you can go there to do so many things, different types of things. And that are the intervening conditions that drives to the activities that migrant workers engaged in. And as I can summarize, altogether, they usually conducted the recreational activities. They're having a good time with their friends, with their families, with their kids, with their colleagues, with the people they think are important there. They create important memories there. And finally, eventually, they build up a place attachment. Through the emotional experience, they think that they really be thankful to be here. And maybe they feel like they belong to there, they belong to Macau. And I would like to move to the conclusion and implications. For the contributions, the study has contribution in the literature and existing theories on place attachment, particularly in the market of migrant workers. Because we can find out that the engagement could help raise positive emotions. And finally, they could feel physically and emotionally attached to the place. And for the implications, the process, as we can see again, it has the practical implications for the tourism industry, for the policymakers, and also for the government department who are related to the tourism and migrant workers. Maybe for the tourism industry, because we hire migrant workers, how we could attract migrant workers to come to Macau, how we could attract them to contribute more to Macau, contribute more to the company, to the society. And maybe we can, based on this grounded theory, we know how they could process the place attachment. If they have the place attachment, they feel like they are more attached to this place. So maybe it could, for the government department to think about it, how they could develop better maybe better policy for them to protect the migrant workers here. Thank you for listening.
Right, so it's the time for the panel member to ask questions or raise some comments. Any thought?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your presentation. Actually, I really like your presentation because the whole slide is actually very clear. And then I can see that you have the eye contact to us, which it also helps to build a connection with your target audience. And also, in the at first, actually, you also showed that the purpose. I think the purpose of your presentation is very important. Maybe you can put the agenda or purpose, but you put the purpose, and then I can understand what you actually want to present to us. Yeah, this is.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It was very, very clear. In terms of what you were trying to achieve in terms of emotional experiences and how that connects and attaches. I think that was great. I think in future, what you can do too is also to see the macro image of what is currently happening, and then how can this, because I mean the sample size is Nepalese and Filipinos, but there's of course many different nationalities. So it'd be interesting maybe in the next step to look at a geographic sort of relationship and focus to see the emotional connections, not just with two nationalities, but with more. So, but overall, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your suggestions.
Actually, from my side, I need to say a thank you to you for your presentation first. And then actually from my side, it's more about an overall comment rather than a question. Right? Actually, for this topic, it's more about human resources, I would say, how to retain the foreign worker to stay in Macau longer, rather than just the work environment or the salary, but in other stuff that we can attach them to the to stay in Macau. Actually, I think it is a very good topic. Then for the government, there will be another opinion that just the salary or working environment ban. Other than that, there will be some other items that the government should look at in order to plan for the policy for how to attract the foreign worker in the future.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you for your comments. It is, in fact, yes, it is. I think it's important to have a place attachment because one of the reasons is to retain them, right? So they feel belong to Macau and they want to stay here and longer. Maybe you have addressed that in your literature review or in the background of your study. So thank you so much for your presentation and thank you for your question.
Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move to the last presentation today, NICOLE. Personally, I find that this topic is particularly interesting to me because she looked at Venetian and Parisian. All right, so please.
Can we start? Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is YINGYUN Nicole, and today my presentation topic is about mainland Chinese tourists' perception and experience towards simulacra architectures in Macau Hotel Resort, case study of the Venetian Macau and the Parisian Macau, which is supervised by Dr. Veronica Lam. Let's start. There are total 6 parts in my contents, and I will show them to you step by step. The story begins with some social phenomena. Nowadays, more and more tourists, they prefer or like the foreign cultures and architectures, and the importance of the exotic otherness and differentiation are become very important symbol for some destinations. And it is a fact that tourists, they travel abroad or to other places, and they far away from the local attraction during the due to the needs of the intercultural interaction. In China or around the world, there are so many copies, and from the world famous attractions, attractions to attract tourists. As you can see in this screen, I just list the two typical examples in China, the mainland China, the Tower Bridge in Suzhou and the Sphinx in Hebei. Maybe some of you have heard about this kind of copies already. Yeah. So in here, I also want to introduce the meaning of the simulacra architectures. Simulacra architectures means the some typical or famous landmark that have been copied to other cities or other countries rather than his original places. Yes, next. So then I thought of Macau, because this kind of thing, hotel resort has been very important part of the Macau tourism roles and activities. So this research will focus on the typical example of the thing hotel resort in Macau, the Venetian Macau and the Parisian Macau. Yeah, for the significance, I think there are multi-stakeholders here. For example, for MGTO for tourism promotion, and for thing resort developers, and as well as the managers, and also for other cities that who also want to develop thing hotel in the future. And although the distinctiveness and the increasing number of the simulacra architectures around the world, and it also arounds much attention from academia and the hospitality industry. However, there are very limited period studies about this topic. So this research will try to fill the gap and let related parties to take corresponding actions as well. As you can see, there are total 3 research questions in my paper. I call them ABC. Tourist motivation for visiting theme hotel resort, hotel value of simulacra architectural things, and as well as tourist actual experience connect to things. And then for my literature review, I search and read many journals and articles, and finally, I include several of the related concepts into my literature review. There are definition, tourist motivations, authenticity, and hotel value, and as well as the perceptions and experience. I want to introduce several of the key theories that are used in my literature review. For the tourist motivation, I use the push and pull factors by the Compton in 1979. And he lists several push and pull factors for tourist motivation. And for authenticity and hotel value, the rethinking authenticity in tourist experience of Guan in 1999 is used in this research. And finally, for perceptions and experience, I adopted the framework of the experience rooms of Pai and Gilmore in 1999. In this theory, there are many 4 parts: the passive and active participation, and also the immersion and absorption experience of tourists. Then for the methodology, in this research, the exploratory research design with qualitative approach was used in this research. Since this kind of topic is not well studied in the past and with very limited period studies, so it's very good to cover this kind of topic, such as this one. And the in-depth semi-structured interview was adopted in this research. And after that, 30 open-ended question was decided in advance into 4 parts. And I interviewed totally 11 participants while using the convenience and snowball sampling design. Because by using this kind of approach, some interviewees can also recommend me some potential candidates who has the similar experience before. Yeah, by using the snowball sampling design. And during the for the interview method, I use both face-to-face and telephone interview. Then we come to the job findings. I have 3 main findings based on my research question. There are tourist motivation for visiting a theme hotel resort, and hotel value of the simulacra architectural things, as well as the tourist actual experience connect to things. Let me explain them step by step. First one is tourist motivation. After finish this my research, I noticed that for revisit tourists, they emphasize on the leisure and entertainment, for example, shopping, and others like restaurant. But for tourists for the first time to visit this kind, the two-theme hotel in Macau, they mainly attracted by the theme itself, or they have the social motive and all word of mouth. After knowing the main motivation things, what are they? And I want to provide some the direct quotations from the interviewees as well. Just give some examples. Because, for example, for the first one, the leisure and entertainment shopping experience, interviewees say that there are many shops for shopping. I was mainly attracted by the product or the service. And for the interviewee B, he was attracted by the thing itself. And she said, oh, it is very famous with that special sky, the fake sky, and the Venice Canal, which are very famous, well-known or recognized. The second finding is about hotel value of the Simulacra architectural themes. As you can see, I have decided 4 themes in other ones, which has in differentiation and uniqueness, diverse value of theme, atmosphere and authenticity, photo sharing and self-identity, theme as indispensable role. And under the differentiation and uniqueness, the visual and also the smell distinction can as be the secondary things in here. And besides, theme atmosphere, positive and negative views of authenticity can also be identified as the secondary things under the diverse value of theme atmosphere as well. Similarly, some direct quotation will be shown to you here. Just take example of the differentiation and uniqueness. It talks about the how the theme hotel resort about the Venetian Macao and the Parisian Macao can provide the the smell distinction and also the visual distinction for tourists. Just take interview A for example. He said, "I still remember the perfume smell in the Venetian Macao." I remember she also mentioned that she can also distinguish the smell in Venetian Macao, also the Parisian Macao. She knows the difference every time she entered the different hotels. And for the diverse value of theme atmosphere, I mainly want to talk about the authenticity because most of the interviewees say that I don't care fake since we need cultural exchange because not everyone can go to Italy or France many times since the money and cost and the time. Yeah. And this kind of thing hotel can provide very the platform for tourists to have a cultural exchange and intercultural interaction. And the third part of my finding is talk about tourist actual experience, connect to things. As you can see in this screen, I also have 4 many type of things here. Immersive shopping, enjoy facilities and emblematic elements, take photos and to recall good memories, and finally, interaction with staff, experience the gondola experience. Similarly, just provide some direct quotations from the interviewees. For the immersive shopping, interviewee K say that the fake sky makes me to forget the passive of the time when I was shopping. It seems that the whole thing environment can make tourists to feel in another space that will forget the time, and it provides very immersive shopping experience for tourists. And another very important part I want to mention is about the interaction with staff. I talk about the gondola experience. Some interviewees say that, oh, we talk and with the bowman and also introduce the background of Venice to us. So it's very positive and very excellent tourist experience here. For the discussion part, I divided it into 2 parts: the consistency with the literature review and the differences with the literature review. As you can see, all tourist motivation, I mean the leisure and the social theme motives, and also the word of mouth are all related to the literature review, especially for the push and pull factors for pleasure vacation, and also the tourist motivation of Simulacra in 2013. And for hotel value of things, 3 out of 4 are very consistent with the previous studies. Just take the example of 1 and Carbon and Hackle. They also mention in this kind of theory, they also mention the importance of hotel value, the experiential authenticity. And for tourist actual experience, similarly, there are also 3 out of 4 are consistent with the literature, especially the experience rooms of Pai and Gilmore in 1999. More importantly, is the difference with the literature. As you can see, they are all related to photo taking or photo sharing. But the first one is hotel value, and the second one is the actual experience. And as you can see, for the photo sharing and self-identity, the specific aspect of taking photo and photo sharing is certainly discussed before. Just take a literature review as example. Theme hotel provide a copy identities, according to Garrick. Yeah. And as you can see, previous studies just mentioned the general behavior of the self-identity, but in this research, I conclude that photo sharing and photo taking can be as a tool to facilitate the tourist self-identity. So it can as supplements to fill the gap in the in the before. And for the taking photo and record good memories, the literature review before normally view this kind of behavior as undesirable or very negative. But after I finished this research, I found that it's positive and memorable experience because a lot of tourists can take pictures to record good memories. It's a kind of souvenir they can go back home and enjoy. And then for the conclusion, I also want to restate my main findings again. For the motivation, for revisit tourists, they have a desire for leisure entertainment, the shopping, the restaurant, the shows, the activities. But for first-time visit tourists, the theme motive and word of mouth is more important to this part of people. And for hotel value, hotel can provide a visual and smell distinction to further differentiation themselves from other competitors. And they hold a high level of authenticity with exotic atmosphere. And hotel can also be a place for photo sharing and self-identity. For actual experience, tourists can have a very immersive shopping experience. They can take photo, connect to very famous or typical architectures here inside the same hotel resort. And more importantly, tourists can have very positive and excellent interaction between the staff inside the hotel. Then some important managerial implications are shown here. In this kind of findings, I suggest that hotel managers can add more sensory stimulus. Means that the size, the smell, the taste, such as the pleasant things, some representative food to further differentiate them from others. And secondly, since the distinctiveness of thing features decrease, so it is very important to improve main product, I mean the non-thing elements quality, such as the well-trained staff, clean guest rooms. And for the rooms and restaurant, it's very important to creating the thing. I mean, keep consistent of the rooms with the things as well. And besides, more theme-related activity can be added to increase the tourist engagement and let tourists feel that I can also be a part of the things as well. And lastly, hotel manager can pay attention to the feedback online, since most of interview come to this same hotel because of the word of mouth or good recommendation from others. Limitation, due to the nature of qualitative research, there are very small sample size, and most of interviewees are come from Guangdong province. So it cannot provide very representative result for all tourists from mainland China. And for the range of age, the majority of interview are young generation. So it can cause some bias data. And for the format, I interview some, the interviewees by telephone. So if I cannot observe their body language and facial expression, so it may also miss some useful information as well. Yeah, this is the reference in this presentation. Thank you for your listening. That's all.
Okay, so now is the Q&A session.
Congratulations, it was a very nice presentation. I learned a lot of things, push and pull. I love that. That's one of the things, but I think you really used some of those concepts really well in your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Actually, I'm from CHEN, so yeah, I'm not sure actually it's based on the experience I got, but I just step out of it and use my educational experience in my past when I'm doing master degree in before. Just wonder for one question, during the questionnaire or interview process, do you find there's any difference between if that interviewees been to the real one, say for example, to be Venice or to be Paris before, compared to they haven't been to? When they come first time or repeated business come to Parisian or Venetian, do they is there any particular change on the mindset when they have to experience?
I remember one of the interviewees that he came to France about 3 years ago, and she told me that when they come to France before and after he first time to visit the Parisian Macau, he noticed that the Parisian Macau, the elements inside the Parisian Macau is very similar to locals, and no matter the decoration, the style, or the other detail elements, very similar. So she think it is kind of very high level of the with the local customs and the local environment. Yeah.
Well, I think this is a very important question as well. If people who have been to Paris and look at that, just similar, the same architecture, what do they feel, right? What are their experience? I think this is a very good future research direction. Thank you.
Yeah. And some of interviewees just mentioned that if they have enough money or time, they will still prefer to go to the real location, not just in same hotel. Yeah.
A follow-up question from me is that people who go to our Venetian, and even though they find that this is not real, they still are very happy about this and like to take the photo, right?
Yeah, some people are more focused on the real experience. Like just I want to spend a very happy time with my friends, my family. It is not enough for some of people. Yeah, they don't care about the fake or other reality as well.
Well, Nicole, it was a very well done presentation. I like the fact that you've also put together what is your recommendation for the management in terms of your finding, such as the usage of the 6 senses, smell, feel, touch, and all those elements that is also transferable to other type of studies. And in addition to that, you've also put the compare the limitations, such as the sample size, for example. So I think with that, you've covered those particular aspects. Just to share with you that like what you have mentioned earlier, that it's been done before, for example, the Sphinx in Hebei and the Tower Bridge in Suzhou. In fact, quite a lot of casino integrated resorts business model, I think way back early 2000, they have started using this particular model to simulate the interest within the local environment, such as actually Las Vegas is one of the biggest model for this type of copy. So just my overall comment is that I think it's important to highlight that based on all those studies and experience, what would be the overall factor that you think would drive and contribute more to Macau in terms of additional tourism visitation? Because the private sector has already done a great job to do all this thematic environment. So what else can be done? Because that information is good for tour groups and other mass market when we started to reopen the market. So I think you can add a particular element, because that's also good in terms of bringing the tourist visitation for the mass market.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Suggestion.
All right, since we still have 1 to 2 minutes, I would like to ask if any audience from the floor. Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is very good presentation. I'm from CHEN, so I think I have a privilege to ask you a question. I think first, I think you can add one. I can share you one experience that will bring you to write more benefit to the visitor to visit us instead of going to Italy, and because there are many pickpocket, and it never happened in sense in Venetian and Parisian, because we have many security and very good CCTV. So and, okay, joke aside, actually this is not joke, it's true. My question is, you did mention about the training. You did mention this is one important point to provide training to our team members for when we are running a film integrated resource. So I'm from training, and we are running the new project is London. So from your point of view, how should we train our team members? And majority of the team members, they have never been to the place. And what kind of training that you think we should do more to engage our team members to to provide a great service and create a great memorable experience to our customers? Thank you.
Okay, I understand your question. I think at first, firstly, all the employees must be trained to know the basic professional or other behaviors to the guests, like to provide very active help or system for the guests. And it is very basic requirement for the training of the staff. And secondly, especially in the theme hotel, it's not like the normal hotel in Macau or in China. So it's very important for when you train your staff must know the culture of the things. It's very important. If you don't know the story of the background of the Paris, of the London, they cannot provide very engaging thing experience for the tourists. Yeah. And I think I can think about this kind of point now.
Okay. Yeah, of course, you can discuss after this session. Okay. Okay, so let's conclude our session here. We have a very interesting presentation today. I would like to present the certificate to our presenter. Ms. Leng, since you're not in Macau, we'll send the certificate to you later, but I want to call Sunny to come. So my appreciation to our panel members. Can come up to take a group photo, NICOLE and Sunny. Okay, our next session will start at 4:30. Maybe we can have a break outside.